Hi everybody, my name is Kelsey Romney and tonight we're doing another 4-H Interviews with Pros video. Tonight we have Abby Pappas, a teen leader from Summit County, and she's part of the 4-H Ambassador Program, who will be interviewing Susan Dart. Susan is a speech language pathologist who lives in Cache Valley, Utah. And Abby, I'm going to turn the time over to you.
All right, well, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Susan, for taking the time to meet with me. I've just got a few questions to ask you about speech language pathology.
All right, it's good to be here.
So I'd first like to ask you to just tell me a little bit about your day-to-day in your job.
Okay, well, I work in an elementary school here in Cache Valley. So I get to school, about an hour before the kids. This year's a little different in that I also have some students that are online because they're doing school online. So usually every day I have a student online before all the other kids come. So we do that via Google Meet, and I work with them. I have a variety of students. So in speech language pathology, we work with a lot of different kids with a lot of different disabilities or disorders. I have a big group of kids that I work on articulation. So kids that can't say their R's or K's, G's, S's, they can't say certain sounds correctly. So I teach them how to make those sounds correctly. We practice them in words and sentences, reading. And then I have another group of kids that have a language disorder. So they may have difficulty knowing the meanings of words, vocabulary. They might struggle with comprehension, understanding categories or multiple meaning words, different things like that. So I have different language groups that I see throughout the day. I also work on social language or pragmatic skills. A lot of times these are kids on the autism spectrum. So we work on social skills, on appropriate things you should say and do in the classroom or with other people, how to make friends, how to control their anger, how to deal with changes. So I have some social language groups. I also work with kids that stutter, have a fluency disorder. So throughout my day, a lot of my day, I call them speech rounds. So I have a desk outside all the groups, the pods of grades, and I pull the kids out for 5 minutes and we just drill articulation. We just practice whatever sound they're working on real quick. And then other times throughout the day, I have groups that come to my room for a longer amount of time to work on language and fluency and social language. So my day's pretty packed. I see lots of kids in a day. Don't have a lot of breaks, but it's awesome. So that's kind of a typical elementary school day for a speech language pathologist.
How many students do you think you see a day?
I probably in a day, 40, 45 kids. I have about 65, 70 kids on my caseload. And, they have varying amounts of time that they need to be seen, depending on what we're working on.
So what makes you excited about your job to go in every day?
Well, it's the kids. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in any given day or what a child may say to you, but it's fun to see the kids learn and gain confidence in their speech and their ability to communicate and interact with others. And the kids make you smile. You're kind of like a superstar when you go to work and they see you and they're excited to see you and they, give you high fives and, and then it's fun to see kids that I've had, later on and, they're speaking well and being successful, and to know that maybe I had a small part in helping them be successful in their life is rewarding.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be. So when you think back, do you notice any interests that you had when you were younger that align with what you do today?
Yeah, I think one of the things that got me into it, I really was interested in sign language. And so I'd taken a sign language class and I enjoyed that. And I was working I was doing an internship. I also loved kids. So I knew I wanted to work with kids, but I didn't want like a whole class of kids because I thought that would be frustrating for me at all different levels. I wanted to do more small group. And I was doing an internship, and this lady, it was at, I believe, a school for hearing impaired kids. And this lady came and got this kid, and I went with him, and she worked on talking and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. I want to be what you are. What are you? And she told me, and I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So.
And what type of education do you have to get beforehand?
So to be a speech language pathologist, you have to have a master's degree in communication disorders. There is a new field that's a speech language tech, which you can work as that with just a bachelor's degree, but you have to be supervised by a speech language pathologist. So there's certain things you are not able to do. The speech pathologist has to do it. So you do need a master's degree.
And where did you study?
I got my master's degree from the University of Minnesota. I did go a year to Utah State. I'd gotten my bachelor's degree in a different area. And so I did a year at Utah State getting some of my undergrad, and I also did some graduate stuff, and then we went to Minnesota.
So what other skills do you think are necessary to succeed?
Is it? Well, I think, that it depends. So the thing about speech language pathology is it's very broad. You can work in a lot of different settings. And so I think, there's different skills for different settings. You can work in a hospital, a nursing home, a rehab center, high schools, elementary schools, there's birth to 3. So I think all of those different areas, depending on where you want to go, require a little bit different skills. Working with kids, you have to be flexible, super flexible. I think you have to be fun. If you're not having fun with the kids, they're not going to want to come, and they're not going to want to do their best. So I always we have fun in my room. I have lots of games. The kids want to come, and I have kids stop me in the hall and say, hey, how do I get to come to you? So you gotta make it fun. You have to be, there's a fair amount of education that goes with it. So you have to be a diligent student. And I think you have to love people, to be successful in this career.
And along with all the rewarding parts, what are the biggest challenges that you face every day?
Well, I think, sometimes there are behaviors you have to deal with, especially, some kids, I also, not right now, but have had the opportunity to work in with life skills students. Those are kids that are intellectually handicapped and have many disabilities, and sometimes that can be challenging because you don't see a lot of progress, and they're not always willing to do what you want them to do. I think, for me, working with the kids is the rewarding part, but along with it, there's paperwork that you have to do, a lot of reports and progress notes and different things like that. That's not as much fun as actually working with the kids. So that's what I would say.
Are there any really big surprises that you just didn't really think would go along with being a speech language pathologist?
Not really, but I'm one of those people that just kind of goes with whatever's thrown at you. I don't get super stressed out about stuff. I'm trying to think. I don't think anything has really surprised me. Maybe paperwork, but you knew that would be there, but it's ever changing. There's always something new every year that you have to do differently or do more of. But that's part of being flexible.
And are there any other similar careers that you thought you wanted to go into before you decided?
not really. I knew I wanted to work with kids, and I knew small groups. I wasn't sure what that would look like until I, like I told you, until I found it.
And do you have any advice for anyone that's considering going into the same field as you?
Well, I think it's a great field. You know, I love the diversity. You know, if you don't like kids, that's okay. You can work with adults. You can work with, you know, older people. You can work with infants. You know, there's all the different settings you can work in. That was a draw, because you know it's exciting. If you kind of get burnt out in one area, you can go work in a different area. Okay, so that's good. I think it's a highly competitive field. So if you're looking at going into it, you need to make sure you're getting good grades, because it's, I think, I can't remember the exact numbers, but there are hundreds of kids in the undergrad, and they only take like 14 into the graduate school. So it's a very competitive field. But you know, I loved it because as a mom, as a working mom, it was very flexible. So I could work part-time when my kids were little, and there was such a demand for speech language pathologists that they would take you and allow you to work, you know, a half time. They would take you whatever you could give them, because there is such a demand. There's such a shortage of speech language pathologists. So I would just say, you know, study hard, make sure you're getting good grades.
And what do you really think the biggest reward has been throughout your career?
I think I kind of mentioned it before, but it's being able to see my kids that I had in elementary school and see them in high school, and even, you know, graduated, and they are successful students. You know, they're able to express their feelings and their wants and needs, and they are, you know, successful members of society. And you know, that's really rewarding, and it's fun to see my kids and for them to see me and be excited to see me again. It's rewarding. It's rewarding to see progress, because you know, the bottom line, communication is vital for all of us. And to, you know, to see a child who had no communication at all, nonverbal, and to give them a way to express their wants and needs is super rewarding.
Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you and taking time out of your day.
You bet.
Okay, thank you so much, Abby, and thank you so much, Susan. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate your time and your expertise. It's really valuable. I just want to let you guys know who are watching that Utah State offers a speech language pathology program. You can get both a Master's of Arts (MA) or a Master's of Science (MS). That's a 2-year program. And students who are pursuing the master's degree in speech language pathology must have a bachelor's degree in communicative disorders or an equivalent as an undergraduate in the prerequisite courses. And so I'll put in the link to the website with more information in the comments on Facebook. And we don't have any questions on the comment section right now, but if you watch this video later and you have any questions about this field, feel free to drop them right there in the comments, both on Facebook and Instagram, and we can circle back to Susan and follow up with those. So feel free to ask any questions if you want to. And with that, I think we are good to go. So thank you guys both again. I really appreciate you both coming on.
You bet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.